Okay. Um, yeah. Uh, things and stuff, and I. Okay. Hello, welcome to this week's special double edition of Once Upon a Time Recap. We're recapping episodes 8 and 9. Gonna put a quick disclaimer up top. I am not the only person who believes that they aired these episodes in the wrong order. They should have done a little bit of a flip-flop because at least in Captain Swan fandom, none of us were really paying as close attention to what was happening in the second hour as we should have, because everything happened in the first half. And yeah, so it's the second half might be a little more uh lacking, I guess, is the best way of doing things. And I'm going to go to the live control room because I just jumped onto the screen and I'm streaming. Good, yay! But yeah. So the second half is going to be a little less detailed as everything else was. Yeah. So okay. So yeah, I'm not okay. Just letting y'all know, not okay. Things are not okay in Amanda Land. Things are not okay where you are, I'm pretty sure. If you're watching this stream, then you are well aware of how not okay everything is. I don't I don't know where to slay. I guess I should just start at the beginning. That's a pretty good place to start, but I just there's so much. Okay, I'm gonna just get going because everything happens so much, you guys. Okay. I remember how I was joking last week. I was like, oh yeah, we'll be here till like 2 a.m. Accurate, because I was thinking, yeah, I should be done about 1 o'clock, like 2.5 hour stream, that should be fine. Because I got accepted to grad school last week, so yay. But I have an advisor meeting tomorrow at noon, so I kind of have to be awake, and then I have to go to work right afterwards. So sorry guys, we're gonna go late. It's everything happens so much. Yeah, so we're gonna be here a long time, I'm betting. And please let me know if things are yeah, please let me know what things are if things are not working. I think I have a way to fix things, but yeah. Okay, so let me scroll way back up in my, I'm gonna just scroll through comments really quick. So hi, hello. Yeah, I was kind of bored a little bit during the Merit episode, but I also was just like, I couldn't, like, the first episode ended and then immediately went into the second episode, and so I don't think I like breathed or like was able to focus on anything else. Like, I needed a commercial break. If they had given me a commercial break between the end of the first episode and then the second one, I think I could have paid attention more, because like stuff was just happening and I was like, I can't breathe, and I'm expected to focus on something like just gears are shifting without a clutch. And I don't like, I didn't breathe for about 20 minutes. So I was kind of bored during the Merida one, but the episode gets to live because stuff. We'll talk about that later. So yeah, so we're gonna talk about everything. So yeah, we're gonna talk about everything. Okay, and I immediately knew that this episode was just gonna F me up because the ring from last episode was part of the previews. So as soon as, a ring of importance is in the previews, you're just like, oh god, this is gonna be important for this episode. Why are you doing this to me, Adamanity? All right, so that was in the previews, and I immediately was like, okay, I need to be drinking way more than I already am. I've switched to water. So I don't even. How did the episode open? I don't even. I am gonna apologize in advance. I know I'm just stalling out at this point. Everything. There were a good 10 minutes where I didn't even take any notes because I was just busy going, why everything? Like I didn't take anything. I think my notes for this was for that part was okay, so some shit happened, but I didn't write any of it down because I watched it all with my hands on my face. So yeah, I don't even I there's so many everything. So okay, so beginning episode was Dave. Did something happen before David drove into Camelot's camp? I don't think so. I don't think any. I hope nothing did. I don't remember it happening. So all I have is so Captain Charming Hood are ready to f some shit up. So we have David and Robin and Killian are going to confront Arthur about, I don't remember anything because there's so many things happen. So David and Killian and Robin went to go confront Arthur about the whole magic mushroom thing. And I was like, okay, this is good. So we have David with a gun and Killian with a sword, and Robin's got his bow and arrow, so everything's fine. We got all the major, we got the ranged weapon, we got the close weapon, we got another ranged weapon that's actually going to cause more damage. And like David was totally just ready to shoot Arthur point blank, and I was kind of into David being very deranged and out of it. So I was into like David hanging on by a thread of sanity, like, you did things and I don't approve of it, so I'm going to shoot you. Okay, thanks, David. That's great. So then there's a table flip, and I understand the table flip because I too wanted to flip tables a couple of times during this episode. And Arthur slashes his way through the back of the tent and runs to the woods, and Killian pursues. Arthur trips over a log, drops his sword, and I thought this was dumb because Arthur then trips Killian or knocks him down or something and doesn't have a sword, and Arthur's like, you brought a hook to a sword fight, and I'm like, okay, but the hook could still do some damage. Like, it can block because you're not worried about anything here getting hurt, and then you can twist and disarm you. So like, yeah, he brought a hook to a sword fight, but he can disarm you and then also like go for it. So like things can happen with the hook. We've seen it happen before on the show a couple of times. He has used it in combat. But then Emma comes in and is like, not my boyfriend. I'm going to slash you to death with Excalibur and make you really jealous because I put it together and you didn't, neener. And she smashes him into a tree, and I guess he's unconscious then because we don't see him for the rest of the episode. Oh wait, yes we did. We saw him in the jail cell. So I did, yeah, that happened. I don't remember things. There's so many things that happen. I don't remember things. Side note, but I really love Jen's Dark One voice. I really love what she did to it, how it's very deep and commanding. And like she sounds like, even when she's upset, she always like sounds in control. So I really appreciate what JMO's done with the Dark One voice. So like when they're having this big argument in the woods and she's, you know, like trying to remain aloof and she's still like getting emotional, her voice is still very in control, and it's a good indicator of like how like Emma's walls are back up, but now it's also like in her voice too, and I think that's a really great sign of everything. So yeah, I'm having emotions and I can't word it properly. I'm sorry. It's gonna be one of those nights. So yeah, I love the Dark One voice. I love her choice for Dark One voice. And then we're back in Camelot, and it's 3 weeks ago. So they've been in Camelot for 3 weeks, and Emma gets back with the Prometheus stone, because it's not a flame, it's just a little ember, and she has to light it back up. So I'm going to say the Prometheus stone. And so Henry's there with Granny, and Granny's, I guess, babysitting the 13-year-old. I mean, you know, she's protecting him because she's got her crossbow. And I love Granny so much, you guys. Like how she's just, like, Emma's like, okay, danger's happening. We need to like shut everything down. And Granny's like, I'm already on it. And she's got her crossbow in hand. I'm just like, oh, bless Granny. I love her so much. And then we have this really neat slow-mo. Everything kind of freezes in place. We have the Swan Key, which was harkens way back to season 1, with Emma's key to her room in the diner. And Merlin's just gonna kill everybody because Arthur says so. That's cool. Way to go. So we have the choice of give up all the stuff and lose, or keep all the stuff and your family. It's a lose-lose situation no matter what. Like, and I hate these kinds of situations. There's a philosophy exercise, and I can't remember what it is, but it's something to do with a train, and you have like the switch, and like you either, you know, run over 2 people, or like the car full of orphans goes off a cliff. Like it's either way, you're like not like I hated it. We talked about it in my philosophy classes. I hated it. So Merlin's just going to murder everybody, and it's not like either way it's going to end badly. So Emma's got to come up with another plan. And then we have Killian in the present, like basically trying to squeeze Arthur's head through the bars. And I'm like, okay, get rid, just, you know, that's fine. He's a shady hoe and should leave. And I think it's really important to note that, like this is important for later. Especially just given the previews for the next episode. So everybody thinks that Emma is gone and there's nothing left of Emma, and Killian is the only one who believes her still, and he's the only one who's like, hey, no, it's fine. We can get to her. We just need to, you know, figure out a way to get to her. So it's really important that he's the only one that still believes in her, because I think it's going to come back to bite us in the ass later. Yeah, I thought for a second there, I thought he was going to go undercover with everything that I like. Again, I try to stay away from the spoilers, but people don't tag things. So I kind of thought when I was watching the episode, like maybe he was going to go undercover. But no, that's not what happened. But yeah, he's the only one who believes her, and everybody else is just like, we need to minimize like damage control at this point and do what we can to, you know, she, like, to quote the Winter Soldier, she's the kind of person you stop, don't save. And Killian is Steve and is just like, nah, we're going to save her. Let me see. So we have... Oh, so then Killian goes and visits the old Dark One. He goes to visit Gold, and I like how Belle's just in the corner, and she has this little teeny tiny crossbow, and I'm just like, okay, I mean, you know, that could do some damage, Belle. Good job. But there's a little conversation about how, you know, there's always a motive, and we have to figure out what the motive is, and we have to figure out, you know, she has this regret on her face. We have to figure out what the regret is. What is she atoning for? And I really like, you know, I like, we've all caught onto this at this point. We all know that she did something and she's upset about it. So like now we're kind of getting into that, and I like that, and I'm glad that we're finally getting some answers, even though we kind of maybe don't want the answers. So I like this I think is going to come into play a little bit later too, because we had Gold looking at the snow globe, right? And then Killian left the shop, and he was also holding the snow globe. And then we never saw the snow globe again. So what's the significance of this snow globe? And why, I'm curious about the snow globe. Because we didn't see it ever again. Like even when he was walking down the street and he was walking on the roof, he didn't have it in his hand, but he had it in his hand on the street. So what happened to the snow globe? There's just these little teeny tiny things that I feel like are gonna come back later, and I don't know what they're gonna be or why. So yeah. All right, so we have the snow globe for some reason, and I just want to note that Killian is very scruffy. Like his hair and his beard are both very scruffy, and I very much approve of it. But it also does a really great job of just like showing how distracted he is, that he can't, like, there's no personal grooming involved because he's just completely wrapped up in like what's going on and like trying to figure out what's happening. Okay, so we have the snow globe, and I'm going to stop there because we're getting into emotional things and there's comments happening. Okay. Second half could not compete with the first half at all. Yeah, they aired it. They should have aired it the other way around. But again, something happened. So there's stuff happened in the second episode that I think is going to come back, but it can live for those reasons alone. I don't know how you're still alive. I don't know how I'm still alive. I don't know how any of us are still alive because things are happening. Oh my gosh, stop jumping around, chat. Hook and Rumple have switched roles in a sense. Yeah, that's the interesting part that I think we're going to play around with that next week with Rumple's now a hero and now Hook is the Dark One, the very thing that he was so against for so long. And now he is. And there's people who are having some issues with how it went about and how it happened, but like I have my own like things to make it make sense for me, and I understand that there are people who are like, okay, well, that's not how it works, but okay, because they're like, you kind of have to write a TV show as you go. Like you go in with like, this is how I would like it to work, but then it kind of gets fleshed out more, and you're like, well, I wish I could have had this 4 seasons ago, but that's not how it works. If it was a book, you can go in and add that earlier and rewrite it, and it's fine. But you can't do that with a show, so you have to kind of be forgiving of that. So I kind of have a thing about how I think it worked and how it went down. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But I know that there's a lot of people who are just like, I get that. I understand. There are things that I'm like, and the people like too, so it happens. But it is interesting that they switched roles, and I think we're going to get into that next week, particularly because there's been this sword fight that we've known about for a long time on the deck of the Jolly Roger. So about what happened. Yeah, I really wish they continued. Like, I think, honestly, with the second episode, how they just completely, like, the second episode to me felt more like we're giving you a bit of a breather to like calm down from what happened. And I like, thanks for that, but also like so many things just happened that I need to know what just happened and why. Like I need somebody to explain things to me. So I really wish we could have gone into more of like Emma's plans and like what, like the fallout of everything. Because there's like, so yeah. Yeah, Granny's good. Funny you should mention that she's the Winter Soldier. I see there's debates going on in the comments, and I'm gonna let you guys take care of that. She's the Winter Soldier considering. Yeah, Jen and Sebastian used to date. I did find that out because they started dating while he was working on Once Upon a Time. And then I think they just broke up because they like couldn't see each other very much because of schedules, because, you know, he's too busy trying to kill Captain America. I get that. Why? My headphones just made a noise like my phone. Oh, I did get a text because my headphones make a noise when my phone's about to receive a text. It's weird, but my did that. So, oh my goodness. I'll set that aside because there's lots of text coming in. Okay, so again, you guys are debating in the comments. I'm gonna let you guys continue with that and go on with this. Okay, so then we have the snow globe, and Killian's walking around Storybrooke trying to summon Emma basically without summoning her. And I think we just then cut back to the past, and Emma was she trying to light the Prometheus stone, or was she trying to she's just looking at it. She was doing something with Prometheus Stone, and she was having an argument with the evil Jiminy Cricket in her head, about like, should she light it, should she let go of the darkness, or if she lights it, then she's going to get rid of the darkness, and she's ready to give it up, and is she ready to give it up, and is she really gonna do it? She's trying, and then Emma, like, she's yelling at the Dark One, and then or the manifestation of the Dark One in her head. And then Henry comes up, and Emma's just like, well, crap, you're not supposed to see that. And I like the implication. I know we can't show everything on screen, but I like the implication that we have to like she's telling people things off screen. Like, I don't like that has to happen, but obviously it does, because there's only 42 minutes that we have to deal with, and can't have everything. So like, obviously Emma's told everybody that she has these voices in her head, and like, she's having arguments with them all the time, and because she's seeing them but they're not actually there, but she sees them because that's how visions work, she's actually talking out loud. So if she's talking to herself, she's not actually talking to herself. And I like that Henry's very like, like, okay, mom's doing this weird thing again, and okay. So I liked that he was very just like nonchalant about it, like, okay, mom's doing this weird thing again, and he's giving her this hope. And like, this is the first point that I freaked out, because at this point I'm just sitting here going like, my gosh, everything's happening, I don't like what's going on. But I like, for I had to rewind the scene, because I just couldn't focus on it. I was too busy going like, oh, what happened? Like the end of the scene when when she goes to Merlin's camp, I had to rewind the whole thing because I totally missed it, because I was just sitting there going, because Killian picked out the house, because there's Operation Light Swan, and Henry and Killian were looking for a house for them to move into, and it's the house that she's living in now, and she's like, she remembers, so she picks out this house, and like, it's the one that he wanted, and the one that they were going to build a life together with, and Henry wanted to pick it too, and it just I'm gonna need like I need like 6 years to recover from this episode, just like bits and pieces of it coming together. I just need to like I don't know what I need. I need to drink more, but I'm drinking water now. There's just so many things. Okay, yeah, like legitimately, I just was for like I don't even know how long, but at least the entirety of that scene, and then like I wasn't focusing I had to rewind the episode because I didn't know what happened. Like, I got to the point when Merlin was choking Mary Margaret, or no, it was before that. Yeah, so I had to totally copped the fact I had to rewind it. Emma has to use the darkness. I missed that the first time. And then we have the showdown at the forest corral, I guess, where everybody's tied up in these trees. And oh yeah, I rewound it once we hit the part with Zelina, because I was like, okay, I don't care because it's Zelina. So then I was like, totally okay to rewind things. So we have this showdown at the forest corral, and Merlin's just like, I don't want to do this, and Emma's just like, we're gonna do this anyway. And then Zelina comes in, and something about dark magic with like Zelina's totally willing to fight, and then we cut to the present. It was a weird transition. I don't really remember what was going on because I was still recovering. So Zelina is, what was she reading? Was she reading Hansel and Gretel? I think she was reading Hansel and Gretel. And she's totally taking the wrong message out of it, where she's identifying with the witch, because that's a good thing. And then she's like, something's very wrong with the baby. And like, I was super confused about everything. Okay, so Emma just sped up Zelina's pregnancy, for, I guess, reasons. I mean, they weren't lying when they said they'd get through Zelina's entire pregnancy this season. That happened. It happened really weird and a really like awful body horror kind of way, because if you really think about it, that's like I just had this discussion with somebody a couple weeks ago, how we were talking about the first curse and how it happened, you know, right after Snow gave birth. And you know, graphic warning right here, cover your ears if you are not interested in hearing how natural body functions work. But when you give birth to a baby, you then bleed for like 6 weeks, because you know there was blood in your uterus and it has to go somewhere, so it leaves for 6 weeks. So we were like, well, so did Mary Margaret just bleed every day for 28 years, because that's awful. And then we just kind of like went further, like, what if somebody gave birth and then like at midnight it reset and like the baby's back in there? Like, that was like, we're just giving ourselves body horror things. And this is like another thing, like, okay, so if Zelina's 2 months pregnant, which, timeout, Zelina was 2 months pregnant, so like they I'm okay, so she's 2 months pregnant, but they found out already that she was pregnant, and then the 6 weeks passed, so that puts her at 2 weeks when they found out, which, I mean, I guess that's possible. So then they spent 6 weeks in Camelot, but they also had an ultrasound where there was a baby, or there was a fetus rather, that you could actually like see. I'm still timing out because medical science. There was a pretty well-defined fetus on, like, not like super well-defined, but I would at least put it at like 4 months, not 2. I realize that, like, my mom's a nurse. I'm descended from a very long line of people who work in the medical field. I have many, 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 many cousins that are younger than me. I am pretty well aware of how this whole baby thing works. And I'm taking away baby rights from now on this show. No more baby stuff if we're going to frick around with it like this. Just duh. So we have 7 months of pregnancy happening. I'm sorry. I 7 months of pregnancy happening, which means like all of Zelina's inner organs are just like rapidly shifting super fast, and like there's no time for this baby to switch itself around, and like, so there's probably a breech birth happening or something. I'm not really sure. Like there's bones that didn't have a chance to rapidly so these bones that didn't get a chance to shift are like rapidly expanding, and like it's honestly astonishing that Zelina could get words out and she wasn't just consistently screaming until like everything was over, because like there's a reason that it, like 9 months it takes to have a baby, because your entire inside of your body needs to rearrange itself around your uterus. And I'm taking baby rights away from the show, you guys. No more babies. I know that we want all of our true love couples to be happily ever after with all their children, but I'm taking babies away. No more babies. I'm taking the babies away. Okay, so they're rushed into the hospital, whatever. So then we go away from the body horror stuff happening, and Killian's just gonna jump off the library, you know, like we do. And I realize that he is a very rash person at times, and when he sets his sights on something, he's just gonna go and do it. You know, so, you know, completely normal thing to just be like, okay, well, you know, last resort, gonna jump off this building. That great plan. which Emma saves him because she, he was either like really hoping that she would do it or, just like, okay, well, fine. So we have these rings and the sad stories behind the rings, which I'm actually kind of glad that there's like a story to the rings. It's not just like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's a piece of jewelry, but I think like a lot of the things that we consistently see on people, specifically jewelry in the show, like there's a story with it. So like Emma's swan necklace, it's from Neil. The circle necklace, I think it has a story, but I don't remember what it is. But like I know JMO had a whole thing about it. About why she picked that. And then like Mary Margaret's ring, Snow's ring, there's an important story behind it. So the fact that the rings have like a story to them, I think it's really important. And like the fact that it's something that he can use to like, it's, like these are his trophies. And then they turn into this reminder of like, no matter what happens, no matter how many bad things you do in your past, like, love heals all wounds, blah, 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 sappy things. So yeah, and then he thought that he lost the ring that it turns out Emma had all along, and I was kind of hoping that she was wearing it like under the cowl neck, but maybe she was, and she just magicked into her hand. I don't know. I wasn't really watching because I think it was off screen for that reason. And it's Liam's ring. I'm gonna need a minute because I have a lot of feelings about Liam Jones, and it's Liam's ring, you guys. And it was what Killian thought kept him alive for all those years, is his big brother's ring. I need a couple of minutes. It's Liam's ring, and he gave it to her, and it's the last thing besides his ship that belonged to his brother that he has. And I need a couple, okay, I'm gonna try. There's a lot of fanfic that needs to be written. I have a lot of feelings about Liam Jones. that's a problem. There's a lot of things, and I couldn't I couldn't type, and I couldn't typing and fangirling at the same time was just not happening. And it's Liam Jones, you guys. So they go back to her house, and he's like completely unimpressed. He's like, I've seen your house before. And she's like, well, you need to like really see it. The telescope looks out at the water because she thinks that it would help him be calmer, because he helped her be calmer by looking at the horizon, and now she's doing the same thing. And I'm having emotions. So telescope looks out at the water. She tells him that he's the one that picked out the house because it's his handwriting that's on the ad, the want ad. And she's like, I can't tell you what's going on because you're gonna stop me. And we later find out that yeah, he would have stopped her. And I think I kind of thought, like, I had some vivid Agent Carter flashbacks when she had the lipstick that has the lipstick that had like the sleeping powder on it, or sleeping powder. Like there's some kind of chemical on it that makes you sleep. And that's what I was kind of just thinking, like, well, maybe that's it. And she has the blood red lipstick, but that's me. But no, I think it was just like she was kissing him, and then like there's some kind of magic that she did while that was happening, and then it knocked him out. I think we cut to commercial then, and I think that's it. So I'm gonna go in and go through comments because I'm seeing a lot of things happening. Okay, lots of arguing, lots and lots of arguing. All right, so rumors of the LGBT relationship of Merlin, yeah, of Mulan and Ruby. I don't know if that's what they were going for. I did not see it at all. Granted, I do not always come into things with my shipper goggles on. And I've admitted from the beginning that I don't have a pair of slash goggles. I've, like my friends all have, and I've never picked up the trait. If there's chemistry, there's chemistry, but I did not see any. So like, I'm kind of wondering what happened with that. Like, because the whole time that like the whole Ruby, the Ruby Merida Mulan thing was going on, I was just like, wait, which one is supposed to, like, they said that this was happening and I don't see anything happening, and unless this is like laying the groundwork for like, okay, Mulan and Merida, yeah, Mulan and Ruby are like, they're going off on their own adventures. I don't know, because I didn't see anything other than like, okay, they're gonna go off and like, I don't know. So if that was their excuse for it, or if that was that's what they're saying is what it is, I'm not seeing it. And that's like, I feel kind of like bad, because they like they were trying to sell this idea, like they were going to introduce this LGBT ship on the show, and I personally, like this, but this is me, and this, I'm as somebody who does not identify as lesbian. I don't personally see it. Maybe somebody else does, and if you do, please let me know, like how, like what happened with it, because like as much as I was like bored a lot through the Bear King, like I was watching the episode because I had to take notes. And I was just like the whole time I was just like, I'm looking for this relationship that they said was going to happen. And unless it's just like, oh, they went off together and that means they're in a relationship, like, okay. Like, I feel bad for people who are looking for that, if that's what they got. Cause like, we have these grand romances on the show, and then there's this, and I'm like, oh, okay. So like, if you saw it, please let me know and like explain to me, because like, I personally feel like it didn't happen, and I feel bad, and I feel like it was kind of a shitty thing for them to do, to try and like make that a selling point, and then like, I didn't see it. Like I could see where like Merida and Mulan could come through with that, and I thought at first that was where they were going to go, like they kind of had a thing and then they broke off or whatever. But again, like I didn't see that either, and I'm like, I can see where it could be beginning while Mulan is training Merida. And maybe like Mulan, again with the whole like Mulan got upset because she was going to say something, but then it's too late. Like maybe that happened, but I don't know. And I'm just like, okay, well, you know, whatever, like, just, you know, please just tell me things, show. Don't just like assume, don't make us assume things. Let us know about things. Let's see. Oh my gosh, the comments just jumped around so much again. I love the idea of Mulan getting a lover, but I'm such a Frankenwolf. I love monster babies so much, and I really like, I'm into the monster babies. But I really would like Mulan to like have somebody, instead of her just being like this pining, like get rid of the pining bisexual, like make her actually like have somebody to love. If that's what she wants, then give her something. Yes, if there's 2 episodes left of this half of the season, we know Ruby and Mulan are traveling together, still all 5B as well for this relationship. Yeah, I mean, that can happen. I hope that they do expand on it if that's the point they're gonna go, because right now I'm just like, okay, they like said in interviews that this was like they're pushing for this, and I didn't see any of it. So yeah, so comments just jumped again. And I avoid most spoilers, rumors. My understanding was that there would be an LGBT relationship. Not like, yeah, we knew that the LGBT relationship was going to come back. Like, we knew Mulan was going to come back, and that because she is bisexual, because she was in love with Prince Philip, and then she was in love with Aurora. Like the general assumption was going to be like, okay, so it's going to involve Mulan. And then we have Mulan coming back, and then we also have her with Ruby and Merida, and Ruby is currently unattached, even though I still Frank and Wolf, that's my trashy shipper heart. And then we have Merida, who doesn't want to get married, or at least, she said she doesn't want to get married to save her crown. Which could lead to all sorts of interpretations. And I know the media loved it when Merida didn't get married at the end of Brave, because they were like, is she a lesbian princess? And I'm like, well, so what if she is? Maybe she is a lesbian princess. And what, shut up, media. I have a lot of issues with the coverage of LGBT relationships in the media, and that's mostly bad. So yeah. Oh, the Henry and Hook. I have a lot of feelings about that. Oh, don't. No, I really think the one way Hook may hurt Emma is by destroying the house. Don't. No, okay, first off, like, my heart hurts, but also, like, from a budgetary standpoint, I know that that's not going to happen. Like, it hurts in my head imagining it, like, okay, well, that's painful. Ow, like, destroying this symbol of their future together. But also, like, the reason that Emma didn't get her own place in season 4 is because they're like, well, we can't afford it. The budget is so stretched. So, like, they use the budget now and, like, they paid for it. So, like, I don't think they're going to get rid of it because they have the set built and everything. And they're, like, borrowing somebody's actual house. So, like, that's not going to happen just because I know that they don't like wasting money on the show. So it's okay. Like, Hook's not going to destroy the house. As much as that's, like super painful, and I understand where that's coming from, and I, like, appreciate you stabbing me in the feels of that, budget says otherwise. So yeah. I just lost the comments again. Hello, Ashton. I have a complicated relationship with Sleeping Warrior in that it's always an OT3 with Aurora and Philip and Mulan all together in a threesome, because they would make a good family, and they have a nice, everything. I have, again, complicated feelings with it. It's my OT3. I really hope that Killian, Emma, and Henry can make a house a home eventually, because now we know that her boys picked it out, so the intention of the house were good intentions. Yes. So, yeah, and again, budget. It all comes down to money all the time. There's a great, Artie Lou on Tumblr made a great point about how they're building up to a lot of things, because that's what gets the people who have bought stock, the stockholders and the shareholders and everything. There's a lot of money tied up in this show, and, like, what's the selling point, especially as we're coming into the 100th episode, which means syndication. So yeah, there's a lot of money tied up in the show, and they're not going to destroy the house. But the house being a home, yeah, and I would like her to remove some of the gothic interior, because that's just, like, spooky Dark One stuff, and I'm just like, okay. Emma went for my second option for Zelina. Okay, so when we get to this, I'm still going through comments because there's a lot of comments. This is going to be a long thing tonight. Comments jumped again. Dang it. When we're about to get to that, and I don't want Emma to kill Zelina, you guys. And this is really hard for me to admit it, and you know it, because you guys know how I feel about Zelina. And I don't want her to kill Zelina, you guys. But there, I said it. I said something nice about Zelina. Fine. I'd lost it again. Yeah, okay, so we're back in the pregnancy. Okay, so more body horror with the pregnancy thing. Yeah, I know. It's body horror stuff. Oh my gosh, it just jumped around again. My dad compared that kiss to Melody Pond's first kiss the doctor in Let's Kill Hitler. I don't know what that means. I don't really see the Mulan/Ruby. I don't recall seeing any specifics about who the LGBT relationship would be. I saw lots of speculation about Mulan and Ruby. I have seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot about it. I've seen a lot of everything. I've seen Mulan and Merida. I've seen Mulan and Ruby. I've seen a lot of things, and yeah. There's a lot of speculation about a lot of things. Wanting to see Spike and Drew, Captain Swan, Dark Power couple. I don't know. With Jane Espenson, she's one of the executive producers and head writers, and she was a leading writer on Buffy during the Spuffy era. I think she was before, but she was like the main like driver for Spike and Buffy. And there is a ship that like I'm just like, okay, if he had a soul, this would have been so much better earlier on, and it wouldn't have been quite as poisonous. But that was my college like really staked in the. You guys know how I feel about Spike and Buffy. I've talked about that a lot too. Mulan made eyes at Ruby right when she changed back. There was kind of some eyes. I don't like. Yeah, I could see that. But I think she like it was half like eyes and half like, whoa, you turned into a girl, a really hot girl, because let's be real, Megan O'Ree is hot. Mulan and Merida relationship was very sisterish. I could kind of see that, but like really from the beginning, like I could see where Merida would have been like, oh my gosh, you're really awesome and you're a girl and you just kicked my ass. And this is like, I could see her like kind of hero worship loving her. I could really see that part. River, oh, the lipstick thing. I just got to the comment. Darkblade, yeah, I thought of River Melly's lipstick too, except he usually just froze people rather than putting them to sleep. Okay, yeah, I can see that happening. Merida was a 16-year-old girl at the end of Brave. Yeah, but like the whole point was for her to choose somebody to get married. Like that was the whole plot of the movie, was for her to choose somebody and then for her to say no. Like that's the whole point of the movie. I don't know if you watched it, but that was the point of the movie, for her to say, no, I'm not going to get married because I don't want to get married. Oh my gosh, everything just jumped again. I can't find where the comments were. Yeah, I know Hercules and Meg, there was some talk about their pictures were going on around. Things happening. Oh, the Judas kiss. Okay, yeah, I see that. See, Buffy comics don't exist to me in a lovely world of fantasy. I hate Angel. Like, I thought Buffy and Angel were the most boring couple ever. I never watched the series Angel because I hated Angel that much. Everybody was like, oh, but you need to see it because it bounced around. I hate Angel. I hated Angelus. I hated everything about. I was like watching the first couple of seasons where Angel was on. I was just like, I hate you so much, and I want you to go away. So I absolutely abhor Angel. I'm totally one of those people. I'm one of like the few people that I know of who hate Angel. Okay, so now the comments are all the way through, and I've read through everything. Going back to the episodes. Okay, so Zelina's pregnancy, and we have Dr. Whale coming back. Okay, so I like that they just kind of got, oh my gosh, David Anders. I was like, what is his name? I'm friends with people who are friends with him, and I don't remember his name, David Anders. So I like how we just kind of got David Anders in to like make really bad jokes and deliver a baby, and that's it. So I'm glad that he's just like, okay, why steal a baby when making one is so much more fun? And Emma changes her hair, nobody makes a fuss, and I do, and it's the end of the world. Also, he became a zombie, so like, you know, that was the thing that happened. So, you know, David Anders is back just to make really terrible jokes and be comic relief. So I'm happy about that. And at least like when Zelina was taking Margaret's baby, like she was kind enough to be like, okay, I'm gonna flick you into a couch, whereas Emma was just like smashing him against a wall, which, you know, he did sleep with her mother, and it was made it things a little bit rough when her parents came back together, and David was just like, one night stands, what are you talking about? So maybe this was her way of get back at him about that. But, you know, also they were cursed and they're both grown-ups and can make their own decisions. And I thought, like, I was totally in the idea that Emma was stealing this baby. And I was like, did we learn nothing from season 3? And, like, that terrible arc of, like, hey, we're going to take this baby away from everybody. I was like, we didn't learn any lessons from season 3. And then it turns out that, you know, that's not what happened. But I'm getting ahead of myself again. All right, so we have, back in the we're back at the forest corral, which I'm still going to call it that because I think they said the name of the forest, but I don't remember what it was. So the OK Forest Corral, and so Emma hands over the Prometheus stone and to Regina. Yeah, no, Regina's tied up. She hands it over to Zelina. And I like how Arthur is just like, make sure that it's the actual thing, which, you know, A, good point, like make sure that you're actually getting traded what you're supposed to be getting traded. But B, I loved the look on Regina's face when Zelina opened it up and like got tied to this tree. She had this look on her face like, oh, Emma has learned something from me, and it's never trust anybody, so set booby traps. I love that. I thought that was a great look on her face. I know the Swan Queen trippers are probably like turning that elsewhere. But I took it as like, you're an excellent student, Emma Swan. Thank you for, if you're learning nothing else, learn how to be a good bad guy. And then there's the Merlin and Emma battle, which Emma loses. And then I really liked that Emma kind of turned it around on Merlin's head. Because like the last episode, he was, you know, being like, you need to fight the darkness, and you need to overcome the darkness. Ugh. And then, like, so Emma did that, and so that Emma just flips it on Merlin's head, and it's just like, you need to overcome the darkness, and then Merlin does it. So, like, yay, everybody's overcoming darkness together, and, you know, I'm hoping that that's going to be something that we see paralleled in the future. And then we have Killian somehow gets out of the cuffs. I wasn't watching that because I was too busy going like, he turned it on his head. So he goes and he punches he punches Arthur in the face, and he gets cut in the neck in the meantime. And he's threatening Arthur, and he's like standing on the sword to make sure he doesn't take it, which I guess, okay. So we get Excalibur. There's a really cute scene where there's like forehead touches and snuggles and healing him, and I'm such a fangirl for forehead touches, and this is a really good one. And also snuggle hugs. I'm such a fangirl for snuggle hugs. We go back to Granny's. There's really bad dad jokes from Killian. I gave him a left hook, if you know what I mean. That is such a dad joke. That is, you guys, that's such a dad joke. That's a dad joke, and I can't. Okay. And then Emma's out at the well, and she has all the pieces together, and Regina comes up, and they're like trying to have this talk, and I didn't really catch the entire gist of it enough to like write it down. But what I liked that they're like having this little bonding moment, and like Regina's like, okay, I know you, and I know that something's bothering you, so like you should like tell me what's bothering you, because this, you know, we came and do all this for a reason. Like we should probably do this thing that we came out here to do for a reason. But then again with Regina and this dagger, this is why I didn't want Emma to give her the dagger in the first place, because things like this happen and it pisses me off. Like I get Regina's character that she, you know, she takes 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Like that's her whole thing, is like she's struggling all the time. Like, and I get that that's her character journey, is to take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like that's her whole thing, and I understand it. It doesn't mean that I have to like it. because she then, like, we had this at the beginning of the season too, where Regina had the dagger and she's making Emma do stuff. And the whole thing that it's taking away free will. That's the whole thing with this dagger, is taking away free will. Keep that in mind. It's going to come up again in a little bit. So we're taking away this free will, and she's like forcing Emma to talk about things that she doesn't want to talk about. And like I understand Emma's characters, like I understand it as well as I can as somebody who is not on the writing staff or Jennifer Morrison or like working on set and like trying to get her to be this three-dimensional character. And like, just like, that's such a huge breach of trust with Emma to like make her talk about stuff that she's not ready to talk about. So like forcing her to like come out with all this, that she's afraid of, that she can't protect her family, that she's afraid of all this stuff. If she wanted to talk about it, she would, but she doesn't. So that's why she's not saying anything. And I realize that like it's causing complications because that's just how it works. Like, you know, we wouldn't have conflict if that's not what it was. But like, Emma is such a private person that like making her come out with all of this is really bad. And like, I know that that's like a duh statement that it's really bad to make people talk about things they don't want to talk about. But like, it's just, I don't like the implications of it. And I don't like, and I know the whole thing where it's like, you know, Emma trusted Regina to do what's necessary. But I just feel like in this case, it is just taking it one step too far in the necessary thing. Like, I don't know. I have complicated emotions about this whole situation with Regina having the dagger to begin with. And then like the way she's just, to me, it just feels like she's been abusing this power like whenever she has the opportunity to, like, not whenever she has the opportunity to, obviously. But like there's these moments where she just takes it a step too far, and it makes me uncomfortable. And I realize that that's for a reason, but I'm just sitting here like, okay, but this is just, it's such a breach of trust from Emma that I'm just so surprised that like she trusts Regina this much still. So like and honestly, like I kind of thought that like Regina was a shape-shifted Zelina because the way like she had this glint in her eye when she was like trying to make Emma like talk, and I was just like, are you actually Regina or are you Zelina in Regina's form? Because like that wouldn't have surprised me at all. But that's not the case. And I was just sitting there like, oh, this is not really great for like, again, with the whole two steps forward, one step back. I get it. That's her whole thing. But it doesn't mean that I have to be really like it that much. I know I've been like, I feel like I've been so much nicer to Regina this season than I have in previous seasons. But like, because like she's made so many strides ahead in characterization and like redemption and all that, I'm just like, I don't like it when you go backwards. I think that's my whole thing, is like she's done so well that when she falls backwards, I'm just like, Tiffany, I was rooting for you. We're all rooting for you. Sorry, I'm screaming into the microphone. Okay. So Celine has the baby in the present day after horrifying body horror. And finally we have a baby girl in the show. Like, holy crap, there's been so many baby boys that I'm like, okay, we need somebody to have a baby girl. So we have so finally there is a baby girl that it was not born in a flashback. And Robin holding this baby, you guys. And the way he like holding the baby and drawing the sword, like that got me when Charming did it with Emma in like the first episode, and now Robin's doing it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need somebody to make a gift set of that, because that's parallels right there. Yeah, those are parallels that are going to just stake me in the heart. No Buffy stuff intended. And I was actually very surprised, pleasantly surprised, that Emma took Zelina instead. I didn't know what for, and then, yeah. And then I kind of changed my mind really quickly, because I don't want to kill Zelina, you guys. make me say it a bunch of times, episode, why don't you? So we go to the basement, Emma's basement, where Killian is chained up, and not in the good way, and Zelena is also chained up. Where Emma is planning on taking out all of the darkness, putting it into Zelena, and then murdering her. You guys, I don't like Zelena. We know this. You know very well how much I do not like Zelena. I dislike most of the second half of the third season just because Zelena is there. I don't care how, like, I want you to give me a reason to like her, not give me a reason to go, okay, but murder isn't the answer, so that's why she shouldn't die. Like, I just want her to go, like, she doesn't have to die. I just want her to go away, like, go back to Oz. That's fine. I don't want her to die because murder is not the answer. So I'm sitting there, like, having these conflicting thoughts of, like, but I don't like her, but she doesn't, like, I don't think she deserves to die. I don't think anybody on this show deserves to die. I just don't like her, and I want her to go away to Oz and be Mary and leave us alone. Every episode, dog, can we not bark every episode? I don't want Zelena to die. I just want her to go away. Okay, so murder's not the answer, Dark Swan. I don't like, and you know, like, I don't even know. Like, we jumped to this, like, we went from 0 to 60 on this really fast of Emma just being like, I'm going to take out all of the darkness and I'm going to murder Zelena. Which I get that, and I get Emma's reasoning that, like, you know, Emma feels like she deserves to die because she killed Neil and she killed Marion. So, like, I guess in Emma's really heightened emotional state as the Dark One, because again, that was the whole thing of, like, she's running on very high emotions, and, like, everything she feels more intensely. Like, I get all of that, so I can kind of see where she's just like, okay, well, she deserves to die, because we saw that in episode 1 when Emma was just like, Merida deserves to die for no reason, basically. So, like, I can see where Emma's like, well, okay, well, here's this woman who personally has 2 strikes against me, because she had no problem murdering Cruella in season 4 because she was just threatening Henry. So Zelena, who has killed 2 people that Emma cared about, even though, like she didn't really care about Marion, except Marion helped her be free from prison, and then she felt bad, so she took, like, maybe they had coffee sometimes. I don't know. I don't know what the relationship of Emma and Marion was. But, like, okay, so we have, how about this? Zelena killed 1 person she cared about, and then 1 person that somebody she knows cared about. I don't know. I can't figure it out. But still, like, I can see where Emma gets to this point, but murder is not the answer. It's never the answer. I don't know. So back in the past, I'm gonna go through this, and then I'll get to comments, because I see there's a lot of things happening. So back in the past, we have Emma's kind of brooding and, like, looking at the fire spark, and she's trying to get it and she can't get it. So she and Killian have this talk, and again, with me, like heart eyes mofos, where they're talking about their future together and how Emma knows about the house, and it's scary, because it is scary. Anybody who's entered a relationship, anybody who's taken next steps in relationships knows that this is absolutely terrifying. Like, I completely identify with this whole thing of, like, I'm scared because as soon as this is over, that means that this future is starting right now, and, like, I want it, but it terrifies me how much I want it and how much I'm afraid to lose it. And I just think that that's a super important for, like, to notify, to, like, just say, because, like, so many times in stories, like, we just have things happening, like, okay, we're just moving in together. Like, we don't talk about, like, the emotional impact of it, especially if you consider someone with characterization like Emma, who's had, you know, like, everybody has abandoned her, and, like, people, like, she's always waiting for the other shoe to drop, because, like, nothing good has ever happened to her. And, like, the last couple of years of her life have actually been, like, the best that she's had, because she has family and she has people who aren't giving up on her
for the most part, David and Mary Margaret, where she has all these, like, this support system, and she has these people who believe in her and everything. Like, these are all good things, and she's still waiting for the shoe to drop. She's waiting for something bad to happen. She's waiting for Killian to just be like, okay, I'm done, and leaving, because she's so used to that. Like, you know, until like a year and a half ago in her time, she fully believed that Neil was just like, bye, and just set her up and said, she's totally still in this mindset of like, that's what guys do. And so she's waiting for the shoe to drop, and it's terrifying that she's like, I want this, and you're planning all this stuff, and it's making me nervous because I don't want to lose it. And like, I just think it's really important to like showcase that, like, it's okay to be afraid to take the next step in these relationships, and like talk about it with like talk and communication. I've talked so much about communication and relationships in the show, and like how it's so important that like Emma and Killian specifically have like such this no bullshit relationship where like they support each other and they talk about things if it's upsetting them, and they like give each other space, and they're not afraid to call each other out when they're doing something shitty. Like it's such a real relationship, and it's so important that we see this, because like it's good. Like, we need to be able to see that it's not all fairy tales and fluffy and happy, and like, you know, or like in like the case of like drama shows where it's like, oh, this one thing happens and I'm so upset and I'm leaving you forever. Like, no, if you really care about this person and you really want this to be a relationship you're into, then you're gonna discuss things and you're gonna talk it out and you're gonna choose to fight for each other. Like, love is a choice, and you choose to love each other, and you choose each other over and over again. And when you stop choosing, that's when you leave. And like it's, you know, drama TV just gives up so easily. And I'm just like, no, let's have people making choices to choose each other and to love each other and blah blah blah. Romantic happy stuff. That's the end of my relationship counseling for the day. So we have Emma saying like, I'm scared, and Killian's like, but you still want this, and she's like, yeah, I still want this. And then there's true love's fire spark. So they light the Prometheus stone, and it's all like a big symbol of like how Emma's ready to, you know, she's ready to get rid of the darkness, and she's ready because he's there by her side, and blah blah blah. So, you know, I have feelings. We've been doing this for an hour already. Oh my gosh. So, okay, I'm going to go through comments, and I'm really afraid because I'm seeing some things happening here that I just, so, I was kind of waiting for a zombie joke as well, but I'm glad that they at least mentioned his hair, because it is really bleached. Dr. Whale's really, really bleached hair, and then like his sideburns, they need to touch up his sideburns a little bit. So yeah. Yeah, they do need another doctor. It would be pretty nice if they had another doctor, specifically one who started out as a surgeon, and then the second curse was just suddenly the obstetrician. I still think that like Mary Margaret must have put some kind of stipulation to switch his specialties, because he was the surgeon in the first 2 seasons, and then the second 2, or for the rest of the time, he's been the obstetrician. I'm sorry, my voice is gonna be gone tomorrow. Oh goodness gracious. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think like I do know what happened to the other doctors from the hospital from the curse. We're saving on money. That's what's happening. So we're just making Whale do all the things. So yeah. The nurse lady is supposed to freak you out because her name is Nurse Ratched, and she's from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Is that correct? It's that. I don't think it's To Kill a Mockingbird. I think it's there's all these bird titles. Nurse Ratched. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yes. So she's the main antagonist and the villain. So like, you know, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is actually like canonically a fairy tale, and in the Once Upon a Time universe. Take a minute to think about that. But yeah, she's supposed to freak you out. And if you look at I had to Google it to make sure that that's what it was. If you look at the woman who played her in the 1975 film, Louise Fletcher, she looks, the one in Once Upon a Time is styled exactly like the one in the 1975 film. And I just saw that and I'm just sitting here going, oh my gosh, that's kind of genius. So yeah, she's supposed to, because she was not a good person in that book. The problem with some of the kids in town deciding they want to grow up and be doctors, they have to leave town to do that. And I don't think you can leave town to go to medical school. So we have to figure that part out first. Arthur and Zelena want so badly to be the bad guys, but the second episode especially, Bear King, I was just like, okay, but does this have a point? Because you're not really being great bad guys right now. And this episode is, there's one thing that episode was there for, and I'm gonna let it stand just for that, and also because Merida Fergus feels, but you know, I think they'd have to like build a university, because there is no way you can leave town to go to university except for like Henry. Henry can leave and that's it. Oh, the scratch. Yeah, I didn't think anything of it, but like because I wasn't paying attention for like the thing that comes back, which somebody pointed out, parallel that I didn't need in my life. So Killian gets the scratch in his neck. Emma heals it, and we think he's fine, and then it turns out he's not. Harken back with me, if you will, to season 3, episode 5. Liam scratches himself with the nightshade or the night flower or the dream shade or whatever it's called, because I can't remember what it is. It's the evil poison from Neverland. Liam scratches himself, starts to die. Killian heals him. We think everything's fine. They leave the island. Liam dies. I don't need this parallel in my life. Thank you very much, Adam and Eddie. I didn't need need it. And with Emily, or with not Emily, Emma now having Liam's ring, I really don't, I didn't need these parallels, you guys. I didn't need these Jones Brothers parallels. Yeah. My voice is gonna be so gone, I can feel it already. Yeah, they're kind of just assholes more than evil. Speaking of Arthur and Zelena, yeah, I was kind of just like indifferent. Like, the Emma and Regina scene, I have to have something for my throat. So I'm sorry if you hear my teeth clicking against this candy. I just have, I don't know. I'm just, it's so many, like, there's so many good Emma and Regina scenes, and then there's this one where I'm just like, no, I just don't like it. I'm sorry. I think I missed something. The magical one that Regina creates, or maybe Regina can magic them the knowledge. I don't know what that means. I think I missed. I think I missed something. Something about Killian's hook. He took his hook off since it's just a prosthetic. Killian take the hook off that easily. Why doesn't it just come off in the average fight? Yeah, I think I missed something. Because the brace itself, I think we haven't seen him without it, because it's really just Colin holding on to the brace, and like the hook happens. Like he's holding on to it, so we haven't seen his shirt rolled up, because then we would just see like, oh, there's his hand holding on to the brace. But I think most of us have headcanon that there's like leather straps that like work its way up to keep it in place, or just like at least up to his elbow. And the hook clicks into place. We've seen that happen, and the hand clicks into place too, even though that's actually just Colin's hand, and he just holds really stiff and like pretends that he's doing that acting. But I think I missed something for why that's there. Yeah, if like Emma wanted to talk about it, like I think she would talk about it to Regina, but I think in that moment she didn't need Regina. Like she just felt like she couldn't talk to Regina about it, like because there are things that Emma can talk to Regina about, and I think that's very good for her. But in this case, like I don't think it's something that she wanted to discuss with Regina just because like for reasons I don't know. I can't think. I like off the top of my head, I can't think of why. But like I do like yeah, Regina. But the tough love thing with Regina, like it has a time and a place, and I think right there was not a very good time of it for it to happen. So, like I just feel like there's a time and a place, and like Regina went about it the wrong way. But at the same time, I can see like the Charmings being coddly parents, like they're like both like those are two extremes, and she didn't need either one of those. Like Emma didn't need to be coddled about it, but she didn't need to like be forced into anything. Like I just she needed something in the middle, and she didn't have that at the moment because everybody was like on opposite ends of everything, and like I just I don't know, it was bad. So yeah. Again, I missed something with that. Yeah, Regina kind of did have this look of like kind of glee on her face when she was forcing Emma to do things with a dagger, and that's what I thought. Like originally, I was like, "That's not Regina," and then it was, and I'm just like, "Oh, well, that's not really great." Yeah, I don't want Zelina to be dead. Like I don't want her to die. I just don't want her to be on the show anymore because I don't like her. So Bill, what are you doing here? um uh that spells murder, I know. Yeah, let her go back to Oz. Zelina has the darkness decided that Emma kills her. No, because I think the whole plan was because she was going to extinguish it with Excalibur. Like that's the whole thing is Excalibur can be used to destroy the darkness forever. So she was going to put all the darkness into Zelina and then kill Zelina with Excalibur, which would extinguish all of the darkness forever and Zelina's life. So yeah. So just send her back to Oz. Let her go back. I don't she just get over her mommy jealousy issues and accept. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, like she's not at the point where she can get a good redemption arc, and I feel like now, again with the baby things, like I feel like with this baby now that like Robin is apparently just going to keep and co-parent with Regina, and like Zelina might get visitation rights, which this whole baby thing is just I'm taking babies away from the show. Like I don't know. She's at a point where she can start a redemption arc, but she needs to want it. And I don't think she wants it enough. Like she keeps saying she wants a second chance, but she doesn't take it. And I'm just like, you need to take take your shot. Take your shot, Hamilton. I'm sorry, I'm mixing my metaphors up. Yeah, technically death is a result of self-defense is murder. When other people look at the murder, that's the reason being self-defense. Yeah, it's very complicated. Please look at the state of politics in the United States this time if you want to know whether or not murder as self-defense is something that has a leg to stand on or not, because there's very complicated things with that. Debate about murder. Considering the term for falling back in love is a light the old spark and rekindle the old flame. Prometheus ember is an old spark and an old flame. Ha! I didn't even think of that. So, nice catch on that. They got rid of all the other doctors, then give Emma a house. Not technically untrue. Yeah. No more feels parallels. Oh, you guys just got to the Jones Brothers parallels. And it just refreshed. We're talking about how Killian was able to just slip the whole thing off his arm to slip free of the ties. Oh, okay. I missed that. That's what I missed. I'll have to rewatch that because yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that part. Apparently, I was too busy freaking out about parallels. Okay, so yeah, I missed how Killian just slipped it off, which would just in Colin's case is just letting go of the brace. So yeah, I'll have to rewatch that to kind of figure that one out. OMG. Okay, now that I'm caught up on comments, we are not even done with episode 1, you guys, and it is 11:50 at night Eastern Standard Time on this day, November 15th, 2015. Holy crap. Okay, so I did like Regina, like again, like there's so many highs and lows with Regina with me. Because we have Regina being like, no one gets to hurt my sister but me, and I'm like, I like this Regina. I just wish that she could be around all the time, and she's not. And I don't know. I appreciate it when she's like that. I just don't like everything else. Guys. Okay. So I thought that like for some reason, like, so Killian had the heart or the stuff on the spell stuff on his hook. So like I thought for a second, like somehow he was gonna rip out somebody's heart. I don't know why I thought this, because I don't know, maybe it's because that was the magic that was put in his hook in the first place. But I thought that he was gonna use it to like, you know, it's like rip somebody's heart out for some reason. I don't even have a good reason for it. I thought it was just gonna happen. And no, that's not what happened. He took the bracelet off. And they have this unlikely partnership because Zelina's like, all right, well, I guess one good turn deserves another. They're trying to escape the house. Emma puts a barrier up, I think, in the house. I'm not really sure, but there's a lot of yellow light. Zelina escapes. Killian's trying to do something to save Emma. He's trying to find the squid ink. And Emma comes in. She's understandably pissed because he's looting around her house. Killian I'm trying to remember. I'm not even reading off this because I have to remember it because all I wrote was WTF. He throws a squid ink on her. It freezes, and he's trying to get all these answers out of her. But then Zelina shows up again because reasons, I guess, because somebody has to have the plot with them. So Zelina has a knife behind her back. She stabs Killian, who doesn't die. And then Zelina has his memory dream catcher thing and shows him all the memories. And this is the part where I wrote, okay, some shit happened, but I didn't write any of it down because I was watching it like this. Like, oh my God, what's going on? So we have the dream catcher, and Killian's getting his memories back. And Emma's trying to put the sword back together, but then Killian's neck wound opens back up again, and he's dying, and Emma's freaking out because, again, this is her track record with dudes. Neil's dead. August is dead. Well, August, he turned into a boy, and now he's not dead anymore, or he's not a boy anymore. Walsh is dead. Like, her track record is not that great so far with guys. Graham is dead. If I didn't mention Graham already. Like, her track record is not that great, so naturally she's freaking out because this is what happens to her, and she doesn't know what to do, and she's like, you know, you can't leave me because you said you wouldn't, and he's like, no, it's okay, because he's a couple 100 years old, and he's like, he does the thing where he's saying that it's okay that he's gonna die because he'll be okay knowing that she has a future, and she's like, but our future together, and he's like, it's fine, like, it's okay, you know, you can have a future, like, I'm happy knowing that you are still alive and you can still. They're pushing all of my angst buttons. I didn't write any of this down, so he's trying to reassure her as like this gaping hole in his neck is like gushing blood, as much as they can on an 8 o'clock show. And he's trying to reassure her as he's like choking on his own blood basically and like dying, and she's crying and freaking out. And again, I don't need these parallels of true love couples dying in each other's arms and people crying. And she grabs the dagger, or she doesn't grab anything. She grabs the sword and she goes. They land in the middle of this flower field, and he's like dying, and she's like, "You can't give up on me." And I'm tearing up because I'm an emotional loser. And she makes the executive decision. Like she's saying that she can save him, and he's saying, "No, it's okay. Just let me go." And she makes the executive decision to tether Killian to Excalibur, which turns him into another Dark One. So now there's 2 Dark Ones going around. And really, I need like a closer look on this the outfit that he was wearing as a Dark One, because like it kind of looks like the blacksmith outfit from when we first met him, and you know, that's great, cool. I don't need again feelings. So we have this thing, and a lot of people I've seen are like kind of like, okay, but how is he another Dark One if he didn't like sacrifice himself, and how did he not do this, and how did this happen, and why did this happen? And okay, and I get where people are coming from, because like, yeah, I can see where it's like kind of like like, I don't know, pulling it out of your ass basically, but I kind of see it like, since I don't know, because like the whole thing is like Excalibur is made out of like light magic, because it's made out of the Holy Grail, and that's entirely light. And like Nimue didn't turn into the Dark One because she drank from the Holy Grail. She turned into the Dark One because she killed somebody. And I get that, but like with the half of the sword that's controlling Merlin specifically, I see it more as like dark intentions tainting everything. Because everything with the dagger has been like just trying to contain what's already bad. Whereas like forcing Merlin to be tethered to the blade itself was just like that was just bad from the start. The dagger is trying to contain the darkness. The intentions of Excalibur being able to control somebody has always been bad. It's always been something like with evil intent behind it, because you're taking away somebody's free will. You're trying to control them. You're trying to do all this stuff. So like we have dark magic with Zelena tethering Merlin to the blade. He's light magic, and now he's being poisoned by dark because somebody is taking away his free will. They're taking away their ability to choose. They're taking away like all the stuff that like makes you be able to choose light instead of darkness. You're just removing that option completely, unless you're Merlin, who has a whole bunch of magic and can eventually overcome it. But like, even though Merlin performed some dark magic, like he was trying to kill Mary Margaret, and like he was stopping, he was, you know, trying to murder people basically under Arthur's command. Like he overcame it, but like the dark spots were still there, just like how we've seen before, where like people who do bad deeds, we've seen their heart and they have, you know, mostly red hearts, but then like black spots in them because that's the sign of the darkness. So we have Emma tethering Killian to this blade for a selfish reason. And we know that selfishness is darkness in this show. So she's being selfish, and she's trying to keep him with her. She's trying to keep him alive. And so this is for a dark reason. And we already know that since Merlin was using like dark magic because he was being controlled and his free will was being taken away, the magic is already being tainted. And that's why it's like, I feel like it became darker because Emma was using it for a dark reason. So when we see the darkness coming out of Merlin, it's already dark because it's been tainted, and now it's being like doubled down on basically. Plus, we're seeing that it's being used, that like tethering Killian's soul to the blade, or tethering his lifespan, or whatever it is. She's doing this against his will, because he specifically said that he's not as strong as Emma is. He's overcome the darkness once. He can't do it again. It took him centuries to get out of the darkness the first time. He's too weak to be able to overcome it himself. He's going to succumb, and it's going to be just bad juju for everybody. So like it's being done against his will. So I'm pretty sure that's already like another dark factor that's like making things bad. And it's also being performed by somebody who's using it with dark magic. So I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm pretty sure. Oh my gosh, excuse me. I'm pretty sure like at this point that it's just like multiplying in like darkness levels. Again, you're taking away somebody's free will. Like I can see if he's waking up in the vault, like we have the black goo and then out blooms the dark one. I can see that he would wake up and be kind of pissed off about this. Like he's telling her, it's okay, let me die. And I mean, like he's old and he's been around for a long time. So I'm pretty sure like he's at this point, if he's able to, he's probably more than ready to. Not that we want him to, but like he's more than ready to. So he's probably just like super pissed about this. And like the whole thing with like, what is it in Star Wars? Anger leads to hate and hate leads to suffering. And I think there's another one that I missed, but it's the same kind of thing where it's like, and then you have like the energies of the Dark One are like infinitely multiplied because magic is controlled by emotions. So if he wakes up really pissed, it's like times 1,000 because you're now like Dark One pissed, which is like you can level entire continents probably with that much magic. So, kind of in my mind, he looks like a Sith Lord when he comes out of the Dark Vault because he's kind of going to have that vibe of like he's just really angry and vengeance about it, like has all his vengeance about everything. But that's me being like, this is me trying to like hand wave it, trying to figure out like what the meaning is behind it, because a lot of people are saying that the reason it took so long for Emma to succumb is because she didn't kill anybody to get it. She sacrificed herself. And the reason, it's like, and like nobody died. So like, why is Killian doing it? Well, I think it's because he's probably just really pissed about it. I can really just see it being that he's super angry that this is happening and he doesn't want it to happen. But he doesn't get the choice in the matter. So yeah. That's my really long-winded explanation about why he's the Dark One, and then why, like, again, like then he finds out why, and like he wants to see more of the memories and everything, and that's what we're going to be getting into in 2 weeks because there's no episode next week. So it's just yeah, I just think that he's angry, and I like it's understandable because he didn't want it, and it's something that he hated for so long, for centuries at a time, that like it's just gonna multiply, and he's gonna be very upset about it. And yeah, there's a lot of angst involved in everything, but like we'll come. Okay, that's the end of that episode. Oh my gosh, it's 12:03, and I started an hour and a half ago, and that's one episode, and we still have one more left. Luckily, I didn't take that many notes about this episode. So yeah, I'm gonna go through comments. They did say that they were gonna bring back the magic hook, so I'm kind of glad that they did that. It wasn't just a dropped plot thread. I don't know how keeping just his memories away would keep him from being dark. I don't understand it myself personally. I'm sure we're going to get a little bit more into it next week, or 2 weeks from now, excuse me. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not really entirely sure. I haven't theorized on that part just yet, but I'm sure that there's something with it. The whole Emma not waking up in the Dark One evil cloak is because, again, she sacrificed herself. So she had a gray cloak, remember? So that was kind of symbolic of like the half light, half dark. So she's like now fully a person. She had infinite light. Now she has infinite dark inside of her. So now she's really a gray character. So that's what this is that was to signify that she was now gray. She could either choose one way or the other. And the white clothing has just been like trying to get her to continue to choose light instead of darkness. And when she tethered him to the darkness, you'll notice that she changed instantly from the white outfit to the black outfit that we've seen her in now. It's very symbolic. And the whole thing with like she sacrificed herself, and that's why she had like you could go either way, light or dark. That's why her first outfit was gray. Whereas Killian kind of wakes up with this vengeance and this being really pissed off, so it's going to be black. So that's why that is there. I don't think Merlin is dead either, but I don't know yet. We haven't figured out what happened to Merlin. I don't want him to be dead. So I don't think she killed Merlin in order to tether Killian to the sword. I think she just took out a lot of his magic. I don't know if she got all of his magic and thus his life force, because he was alive for so long because of his magic, but I don't really know because I haven't thought about that. So, yeah. I just jumped. Yeah, so I don't really know. Yeah, I think she just took out magic and used that to tether. So hello. Yeah, we're just getting to the second episode. Because I'm a mess about this one episode. Like, literally, because we didn't get a commercial break between when the first episode ended and the second episode started, I didn't breathe for about 20 minutes. I was just like, I can't focus on what's happening because I don't know what just happened at the end of the first episode. Yeah, okay, so fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. Yeah, that's what I didn't get. So yeah. I think in some ways Killian is being selfish by telling Emma it was okay because he knows how much it means to her. Yeah, but at this, I get your point, and I take that. I'm gonna up it up to this. Whereas he knows how much it means to her, but he doesn't actually understand just how much he means to her, because like I know people play the whoopee card with Killian all the time, and I don't really agree with that, but I do agree with the idea that like Killian doesn't completely and totally like comprehend just how much he means to her, because his own self-worth is like pretty useless. I put him on par with Regina, in that like Regina is constantly like ready to throw her life away to like in defense of something. She has like these crazy suicidal intentions sometimes, and I'm just like, whoa, girl, you need to calm down. And I can easily pit Killian as being like in the same boat where he's like, okay, I'm going to be reckless with my own life as long as it means that somebody else is protected. And like, I feel like because of that, he like has such low self-worth in that case, where he doesn't like, where he thinks that like, okay, yeah, Emma's going to be upset that I'm dead, but she can live on and she can find somebody else and she can be happy and blah, 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 blah. So I think that he thinks that she'll be okay when in fact we know for a fact that she's not going to be okay. Like this would destroy her. Like we just know from context clues and everything, this would just be the end of Emma Swan. Like she wouldn't be able to take it. So like I don't think that he understands just how much he means to her. Either that he doesn't fully comprehend it, or he's not letting himself comprehend it, because he's saving his own feelings or whatever. So yeah, I feel like it's he just doesn't quite get it, and like he would be okay with like leaving her if it meant that she was safe. And I just missed everything. So yeah, I do think like possibly, yeah, that was selfish, but I think he also it in his mind it's being selfless because he knows that he feels that she deserves somebody better than him, and she wants him, and he doesn't like quite comprehend like why or something. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. I don't know about Killian's heart. I haven't thought about that yet. I've seen some things about it, but I haven't really fully thought about it and comprehended it. Okay, so now we have the next episode, which again was totally should have been the other way around because like I didn't focus on the first couple of minutes. So Merida's there. She misses her dad who's dead, and there's mom, and there's coronation time. I was just kind of angry because we didn't have any answers, and I would like some answers, please. Thank you very much. Just saying, I need answers about what just happened in the last episode. So Fergus goes back and talks to the witch, and then he gets this helmet for a reason, and I didn't pay attention to the scene because I thought it was not important. Excuse me, that's my bad. Maybe I could have paid attention to some things and gotten a little more out of it. And then we cut to 2 years later, and Merida is bored at her own coronation, and the witch comes in and is like, well, you owe me 10,000 gold pieces. There was an actual name, and I don't remember the actual name, but I'm assuming that it's gold pieces. And she's just like, well, we don't have that. And so they have to find the helmet and blah, blah, blah. So this is the quest for the magic helmet. And we go to Merida's with her dad in a war camp, and for some reason she needs to learn how to fight. I think she needs to learn how to fight specifically in a war because she does know how to fight. She just doesn't know how to be in battle, I guess. I don't know. I really like her battle hair, by the way. I like the braid back out of her face. Like, so she has like her shooting eye. It's free. Like the rest of it is fine, but like this, I don't know. I just thought like, I really like that hairstyle. It looked really pretty. That's my best hairstyle episode is Merida's battle hair. I'm totally here for this brave warrior thing. I really liked, no matter what way they go, if they want to go relationship, if they just want to go friendship, I think they have a good rapport. I think they like bounce off of each other pretty well, both fighting and also speaking to each other. So I really liked, I liked that Mulan was just like, it's a girl and I can teach her how to fight. And Merida's like, it's a girl and she can kick my ass. Like, I thought they could fangirl over each other really well. And I really enjoyed that aspect of their budding relationship. Though, did we mention in the episode at all, did Fergus hire her from Robin's Merry Men? Because last we knew, Mulan joined the band of Merry Men, and then she wasn't with the Merry Men anymore. And yeah. So that's like, if it was mentioned, I wasn't paying attention because again, they aired the episodes came in the wrong order. Or it should have been the other order. So we're looking for this helmet that makes people follow whoever's wearing it because Fergus wasn't that great of a leader, I guess. Mulan goes to talk to the witch because she has this piece of cloak, and she thinks that they could use a person finding spell. And it turns out it's Ruby, who has been captured and enslaved by the witch for some reason. Which, honestly, I was texting my friend Joe during this episode, and I had spent the first couple of minutes, like all the commercial breaks, I was like texting her my whole explanation for like why Killian could be the Dark One, the one that I spewed out to you guys. And then I was like, BT dubs, I like how I can hand wave this Killian Dark One thing away, but I'm going to need some explanations about Ruby because this doesn't make any sense to me. I could not for the life of me figure out why Ruby was there. So I really like that we just came in and like Ruby was just like, oh, okay, so this is how I know everybody and why I'm not with them now. So it does a really good job of like, in a way, it does a really good job of explaining a lot of Ruby's absence from season 3 because we did flashback to the end of season 3 with the naming ceremony for baby Snowflake. And we have Ruby kind of lingering in the back of Granny's and she's kind of like sad. And then Mary Margaret totally calls her out on it. And it's good. So I really like that, like, not only do we have like Ruby hanging out in the background is like, it's just a good setup for her being like just in general, she wasn't feeling like she was fitting in. So she's kind of on the outskirts of everything. If we don't see her a lot in season 3, it's because she's continuing to have these feelings of like she's an outcast because she's the only werewolf in town. And she would like to find other werewolves. She would like to find people like her. She wants to find her pack again. Because like Granny's not like she has Granny, but Granny isn't a werewolf anymore. It was a weird metaphor for being on your period and how Granny reached a certain age and she couldn't turn into a werewolf anymore. So that was a weird metaphor for menopause and, you know, werewolves and moons and blood and whatever. So I do like that she was feeling like she was like a wolf without a pack, like she felt like she didn't belong. So I did appreciate that. It was a decent explanation for why she was just kind of like not around because she didn't feel like she felt she belonged with everybody. I liked that there was a mention of Tiny and the burned beanstalk crop because that's, you know, that wasn't that much time had passed. So they managed to grow one bean somehow, and Ruby wants to leave. I mean, that's a thing, I guess. It happened. It, you know, I guess it's to explain an actress's disappearance who was a main character or like at least a very heavy supporting character in the first couple of seasons, to explain her absence for the last season and a half, like, I'll take it. I've seen worse. I will take this one as being okay. And I do like, I feel like a lot of this episode was just, hey, remember this character that we had on the show at one time? Because we had Mulan, we had Ruby, we had mention of Tiny, we showed the 7 dwarves in the diner. We had Merida being the centric person. We had all the random Scottish side people. So yeah, I mean, like I've seen worse. I'll take it. And Ruby was kind of wandering around the Enchanted Forest trying to find her pack, and they're gone. So she's trying to find a new pack, and she wound up in Dunbrook, and got trapped by the witch. Okay, so I'll take that as an explanation. It's fine. And Ruby's super nose is going to track down the cloak owner. So that's that. And I'm going to go back to comments because I've been ignoring them. Regina and Killy need to eat a Snickers bar when they're planning out their great sacrifice plans. Seriously, eat a Snickers, you guys. Stop being suicidal. I want Mulan to be happy too. Yeah, Merida's mom's wig was very obviously a wig. Oh well. You can't, like, I guess all their wig budget went to Merida's wig. You can't win them all. We should all know by now that almost everything on this show matters. Very rarely miss something. Yeah. I was so distracted that second episode and just like I can't. Yeah, Merida's battle outfit was super cool as well. Like just her hair in general, I was like, I love this hairstyle. But then like everything else about it, I was like, I thought it was kind of a battle corset at first, but then I realized it wasn't. It was just like leather because you don't want to get a stomach cut because a stomach cut, you're going to die pretty much instantly. So, you know, but yeah, Merida's battle outfit was awesome. I loved it. So yeah, I guess if she needs to learn how to fight with a sword better, sure. Sexy wolf hunting lesbian adventure. Yeah, we did talk quite a bit about the rumored LGBT relationship. So we might touch on that a little bit more again. I think technically Mulan was hired by Fergus before she met Philip and helped him find Aurora because the timeline is screwed. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this timeline thing because I don't know. I don't really know what's going on. We'll have to figure that out because it did say like 2 years ago that happened, and then I don't know. Like, because now I'm thinking like it was like 2 years ago that this happened, and then, or maybe it was just 2 years ago that he made the helmet. because like 2 years and Merida just is becoming queen now, and like the battlefield is still there, and like I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at that again because I don't know. Fergus did hire from Robin's Merry Men, so we're kind of just all over the place. Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened with that. Yeah, Tiny was the giant, the guy, the only, like literally the only guy that I can pinpoint from who was on Lost. Again, I've said this before, like they kidnap everything from Lost, and like I only know the guy who plays Tiny. And really, like, there will be a polar bear, and everybody will be like, "Oh my God, polar bear! It's a Lost reference," and I'll just be over here like, "If there's a polar bear, that means Elsa's coming back, right?" Like, I have like all this Lost stuff. The thing that's throwing me off about the Brave stuff is that they're trying really hard to directly translate the movie visuals into real life, and it's coming off as awkward looking. Some of it is, I will admit that. Some of it is a little bit awkward. I really liked the witch's hair, the way that they did her wig. Like, I could tell that it was, it was like a beauty pageant hairstyle where it's like more air and hairspray than it is actual hair. But like, it came off pretty well. Like, I think maybe all of the wig budget went to the witch's wig and Merida's wigs, because that was actually really well done. So, win some, lose some. Is Merida's land in the Enchanted Forest or Camelot time? Because I don't know. I'm trying not to think about it because I really just don't know with this whole stupid thing. I don't know. This timeline is screwing me up, guys. All right. I didn't take very many notes, so I know I'm skipping ahead a lot. So we know there's a battle. I was surprised that they actually showed Fergus getting run through with the sword. Maybe it's because it was the 9 o'clock episode that they could actually show some more violence. Because I know we just talked last week about how, we don't show things 8 o'clock because it's a family show, whatever. And they like just showed him getting run through with the sword. I was like, oh, well, that's where the 9 p.m. thing happens. So it turns out that Arthur stabbed him in the chest, which, that's always great. I thought that he lost it and he like dropped in the water, like he was just running away from the battle or something. But apparently there was a scene where Merida was talking to her dad, and her dad was saying that he was waiting to see the enemies coming through and things and stuff. Again, I wasn't paying very much attention to this episode. They were having this conversation. He's holding onto the helmet, and apparently because he talked to Merida and whatever, it made him realize that he didn't actually want to lead his people under false pretenses. So he threw the helmet in the water, and he polished his other helmet up really shiny, so it actually looked like the same one. Which I appreciate that they did show that. So yeah. So they're looking for the helmet. And this is what struck me as weird, and maybe it's because I wasn't really paying attention, but Arthur was looking for this helmet to lead the knights into helping him find Excalibur. Why? Because, like, is it because he lost Excalibur, so then the knights would just be like, oh, well, that must mean that he's not the rightful king of England, or the king of England? No, the rightful king of Camelot. Sorry. So if he's not the rightful king of Camelot, they're not going to follow him. But like, he's already the king, so they should obey him. Or like, that's where I was kind of like, okay, what's going on with this episode? There's other things. There's more important, relevant things that we could be talking about episode, and we're on this weird side quest. Just being like, hey, remember this character existed? I don't really know. Filler episode? Can we say a filler episode? So that happened. Merida gets crowned queen. The witch reveals it was all a plot to get her to believe in herself and make sure she was a good queen or something. And she gives her This is the reason why the episode is allowed to live, because the witch gives her this ale that allows you to talk to people in the underworld. That is going to be relevant in the second half of the season, because we're going to the underworld. We have Hades cast, we have Hercules cast, we have Meg cast. We're bringing in Hercules. So that's going to be relevant, especially because we've seen Merida in the present day. So then she'll probably have it on her somewhere, because Emma is very thorough in her curses. So Ruby and Mulan go off and have an adventure. Maybe that's supposed to be that Ruby and Mulan are going to be in a relationship together. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know. I need some little more to go off of. I'm going to start shipping this. That's personally just me. Again, if this is what they're teasing, then I shame on them, because I need a little more work on off of this. A really emotional father-daughter scene between Merida and Fergus, when they're discussing everything, about how she's afraid to be a good queen, and how he's like, well, you inspired me, and I know you're going to do well because you inspired me, and I'm sorry I doubted you. And there's a hug, and that made me emotional, because if this ale calls up the dead and allows you to be physically able to touch them, if we're going I have feelings for stuff that hasn't even happened yet. I'm having feelings. Jesus Christ. So we're having this emotional scene, and who's texting me? Emotional father-daughter scene. And then we have Merida. Actually, she has this really great moment where she's like, Arthur, you do not know with whom you have, you're going to pay for what you've done, or whatever she says the line. It's a good line, but I don't remember because I didn't write it down. But she has a great look on her face, like she's about to just blow everything up in Camelot. Like Arthur's not even sure what's going to be hitting him, because Merida is about to just go all out, get him. And then preview for next week. Yeah. So, okay. Wow. It's 12:30. Oh my gosh. I wasn't expecting to have everything recapped by that much, but I did do the second episode in half an hour, because I admittedly didn't pay as much attention to it as I should have. Apologies about that. Okay, so comments. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's about that. The budget went to Fergus's spirit vanishing. Yeah, I can see that. I'm not sure the budget for CG has gotten better. It might next season, because we get that sweet syndication money, and for season 6, so it might get better then. But I don't know. I don't think we saw Charming actually the sword through him. I don't think that happened. I know we saw Charming, he had the wound and whatever, but I don't remember if we saw him actually getting run through with the sword, because this was like Game of Thrones, through him. So well, I don't know. So yeah. Storybook's doctor budget went to Emma's house. The wig budget went to Merida. I don't know. I'm not in charge of the once finances. So 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. for me, and 6 p.m. on the West Coast. Actually, West Coast doesn't get it until 8 p.m. West Coast time. That's always how it happens. That's why, on at least where I am, they'll be on at 8/7 Central. So 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central time, and then Mountain time and West Coast time, it's at actually at 8 o'clock those times. So that's why all the West Coast oneers are make sure you put the spoilers up, because I have to get off Tumblr until it's done. And so yeah, so it is at 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. at least on West Coast. I do know that much, because all my West Coast friends always freak out because they can't be on Tumblr until it's over. So or until they get to see the episode. So yeah. Yeah, the Arthur and Zelena, that I was just this is weak to keep it weak sauce. I'm I don't know about them. Like, I think they used up the rest of the magic dust, so that's why he has to get the helmet, but I don't know. Again, weak sauce. The run blood was surprising. Yeah, like there's blood on it, like the whole thing. I was just like, whoa, this is where the 9 p.m. rating went. So, okay, so I have this very special place in my heart for Disney's Hercules. It's an anachronistic mess, but I love I love it so much because like it's just so unabashedly itself. Like it knows that it knows that it's I can't like it's very self-aware, and I really just can appreciate that. Like it just like it does kind of try to take itself seriously at some points, but I think they just kind of gave up at one point and we're just like it's very like Hercules is on the same level as like The Emperor's New Groove to me, and that's another movie that I just hold very dear to my heart, where it's just like at one point the writers were just like, screw it, you know what? We're just gonna whatever we can get done, that's what's going up here. And I just appreciate it so much that it's just like it's so unafraid to be itself. And like it just it plays with so many tropes, and like it has like the gut wrenching like Meg sacrifices herself to save Hercules, and like he then goes down there like that gut me as a tiny shipper. Um, and I love James Woods. I love him so much. I'm very sad that they couldn't actually just get James Woods to play Hades in this, because like I love he brings so much life and character to a character who should not have that much life. It's just it's so I have I know that it gets everything wrong about the mythology, but I love it so much, and I'm so excited for them to like this is a perfect show for it to be on, because it's like again it took so many liberties with everything and just kind of was like, let's have fun with it, and that's what this entire show is. So I think that Hercules is actually a very good fit for the show, because Disney's Hercules at least was just like, let's just have fun with it. So yeah, that's my whole I have unabashed, plus you know like if you really want to give yourself if you really want to kill your liver, you can, there's a drinking game for it, and you know I don't recommend it, but there is one, because it is so anachronistic and incorrect for a lot of things. But you know I love it for what it is. It's one of my favorite Disney movies. So yeah. Black Cauldron. I have actually never seen the Black Cauldron. It's the like I think it's the only Disney movie I've never seen. And I have seen most, I think almost all of the Disney canon. There might have been like one, or I don't think I've ever seen Song of the South. I think that was officially taken out of the market by the time that I was able to watch things. But I think I've seen just about everything else, except for like the Black Cauldron, and then like maybe one or two other very early Disney movies. I don't think I've seen like the Three Caballeros either. I think I've seen parts of it, but I don't think I've seen the whole thing. But yeah. Yeah, if we could get the Black Cauldron, that might make me like interested enough to actually watch it. I just haven't actually watched it. So I've seen Pete's Dragon more times than I've ever seen. Like I've seen Pete's Dragon 6 or 7 times, and I've never seen the Black Cauldron. So yeah. Oh no, don't do this to me. I've told you guys, don't give me How to Train Your Dragon feels. Hiccup and Stoke fan art like Merida and Fergus. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. So, yeah. A lot of West Coasters are watching through streaming, but like I do know people who actually like my friend Kristen, she watches it on streaming, but her kids don't. Her kids watch it. They watch it on Mondays because they DVR it. So like I know that they, at least I don't know why the kids don't watch it at the time. Maybe it's like they're not young kids. They're old enough to be up at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. But yeah. But that's me. I should probably talk to her about that instead of you guys. Mountain Time. Well, the Xena and Hercules TV show, they're very far removed from like what like they did with the Hercules animated show. So I'm surprised they didn't get James Woods either. Maybe because like he's James Woods and there might be some money issues with that. He did the voice in Kingdom Hearts. Thank God we're not having Danny DeVito though, because like I can't even take Danny DeVito seriously anymore, because all I think is playing Kingdom Hearts and just having that stupid little satyr telling me to break boxes and get up on the Hydra's back, get up on the Hydra's back. I'm just like, oh my God, no, go away. Like I know how to defeat this monster. Like I'm not new to video games. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I am a little bit surprised I didn't get James Woods, but probably again, money, budgeting. I don't remember Hunchback very well. I didn't like it when I was a kid. I didn't like Tarzan when I was a kid either. I might like it more as I'm older. The animation's gorgeous for both of those movies. The music, I really love the music for Hunchback, but I've never like Tarzan. I feel like I'm at the Rainforest Cafe. And also I just don't like, I really didn't like, the first time I saw it made me really like uncomfortable. They like showed the silhouette of Clayton like hanging to death. I was like, oh, okay, I don't like that. But I don't remember Hunchback very well, because that was what, 95, 96? So I was 6 or 7 when it came out. So I think I was a little bit young for Hunchback. But I probably would like it more as I'm older, because I really like, I do kind of get into like stuff with like gets into like religious overtones and whatever. Just like surprise, somebody who grew up religious and then gets into people tearing in a new one or dissecting it. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they're not taking so many liberties with Brave and Frozen. I think they took some liberties with Frozen, just not as many as they could have. And I don't really know. Like I've only seen Brave once, so I can't really say like what exactly they're not doing with that. Maybe they're too new and like the kids watching like are still very into it, because they're still very popular. Like Frozen, good God, Frozen's still popular. And I know that there's a lot of Brave is still pretty popular in the toy section too. So excuse me. So that might be it. The preteen, teen stuff. And like, because I don't like, here's my deep dark secret. Everybody I know, all my friends, they love Treasure Planet. They love The Road to El Dorado. They love like most of the non-Disney like early 2000s stuff, like Hunchback, or not Hunchback. I just spent time going, I don't remember Hunchback. Emperor's New Groove is like the only movie that I actually like from like the years 2000 until about 2003, like that are animated movies. Because I remember very specifically that The Road to El Dorado is the first movie that I came out of it thinking, well, that wasn't very good. But all of my friends love it, and I don't understand why. I maybe need to watch it as an adult, because I haven't seen it since it came out in 2000, 2001 or something, whenever that was, because I didn't like it. But I was like 12, 13, 10, 11, 12, 13, like those years when I was actually developing like a taste in things, and I was just like, well, that's not very good. So I don't know. It might just be like at that time, that was when you just need to give it another chance, because that was my whole thing with, I haven't actually watched it. I'm sorry, Michelle. Like I can feel my friend Michelle like glaring at me from 60 miles away because I am admitting out loud that I do not like The Road to El Dorado. But yeah, so payback for Jones Brothers Field. I didn't even come up with that. That was an anonymous person asking BK a question on Tumblr. Yeah, I think I have to ignore the gargoyles too. And maybe it is that Disney has a short lease on Brave and Frozen because they are so much more recent than everything else. Like I love the whole thing where if they could get Tiana and Princess and the Frog in, but again, I think it would just be very short leashed because it's much newer and it's still very much like those are the merch things that they're pushing right now. Like we have all of these new princesses and you should buy all of the things for it and whatever. So like, I don't know. Again, like that's my whole thing with like, I'm like, everybody keeps telling me like, no, they wanted to include Frozen. I'm like, they might have wanted to, but I'm pretty sure there was also a lot of executive meddling happening. Like, there's a reason that, like, we saw Maleficent, her costume in season 1 was one way, and then when she came back, it looked a lot like Maleficent's costume in the one with Angelina Jolie. So, like, executive meddling exists. It's a thing that happens. So, yeah, so yeah, Planet Road Del Dorado and all that. Yeah, okay, so we're 20. So if you're 20, I'm also 26. So, like, I didn't like Tarzan. And again, maybe also my dislike is bleeding through because I hate the Tarzan level in Kingdom Hearts, and like I was stuck there for so long. I get very angry when I have to replay that level. But yeah, like I Treasure Planet and all that stuff. Like I just so. Yeah, I think probably like El Dorado is more funny as an adult, especially like you can see like I forget the girl's name. It starts with a C. I don't want to mispronounce it because people will jump on me for that. But like it's kind of a blowjob joke, whatever. So like I think it has more adult humor to it, and I'll probably enjoy it more as an adult. But just like I have so much prejudice against it from my lingering childhood that I don't know. So then, like, Emperor's New Groove is just so quotable. Like, my friends and I still quote that movie to each other, like, all the time. And actually, when I was in Korea last year, we would have movie nights on Friday nights. Like, Monday nights were Game of Thrones nights, and then we'd have movie nights on Friday nights, my teacher friends and I. And one of my teacher friends, who's, like, in his 30s, he was like, well, why would I have seen The Emperor's New Groove? Like, that came out when I was in college. Like, and I'm like, oh no, you need to watch this movie. And like we drank lots of wine and had bad pizza and watched, and he was like, okay, it's a good movie. And I'm like, see? So yeah. So okay. I need to drink some more water. Because I can feel my voice starting to give out. I can tell that it's pitched lower, and I'm really not going to be able to sing along with Adele songs now. Oh my god, you guys, the new Adele song. And I know it's been out for a couple weeks, but like, holy crap, it gets better every time you listen to it. Okay, so if we have nothing else to talk about, because I have a lot of feels to process, I've also drank a lot of water, and my body is starting to regret that. So, if we have not, I'm going to give it another minute and let you guys throw in some stuff. I am honestly so surprised that it is only 12:42, and I'm like, okay, I think we covered everything. Because I mean, granted, there was a lot of arguing in comments, and I wasn't going to participate in that because you guys were taking care of it yourselves, and I appreciate that. You know, I like it. I like seeing you guys talk to each other, even if it is just bickering about characters or whatever. But it also like saves me the trouble of being like, okay, hey, hang on a second. Especially since you guys, I think it's about 30 seconds behind. So I think that might be about it. Yeah, okay. So I think if we have nothing else to discuss, it's this. I'm very shocked that we got through this again. But this words things, I can't even talk anymore. So if we don't have anything else that we desperately need to talk about, again, the AMAs are next week, so there's no stream next week. There's no new episode next week. That's why we got a double feature this week. So we will not have an episode until the 29th of November. So that's right after Thanksgiving. We can all eat leftovers and cry about our feelings together. So we will reconvene on the 29th, and it's that one's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to be a roller coaster for that one. Just he's going to make her hurt the way she hurt him, and guys, I can't. My hair's doing the Killian hair thing. My bangs are out of control. Okay. So that's it for me for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around through all of these feelings. We will again reconvene on the 29th because there's no new episode next week. Give my voice a break. I have to go to bed because I have an appointment with my graduate advisor tomorrow morning. Blah. So I will see